bias in the fact that you believe you do or you don't from whatever perspective. So, and aside from that, I think that it's if you have a framing for whether God exists or doesn't, and it makes sense to you, and other reasonable-minded people that people believe it makes sense, and they're or maybe they disagree with it, but they don't necessarily have a problem with your argument. I think that's also fine. But I think that God can both exist and not exist because two individual agents have independent perspectives for their argument, right? So their apologetics is a strong man for, okay, God either exists or doesn't exist. So even though it sounds silly to say God exists and doesn't exist at the same time, well, this is because we can just have this agent-based framing where we say, okay, well, one actor has an independent belief from the other actor and they oppose each other. And I guess that's fine as well. I don't quite see a problem with that, but yeah.
That's a great point. I understand your perspective. Comedian, I would just have one follow-up question if you don't mind sharing. So when you say, like, if you're just seeking information, like, what kind of evidence will actually move you toward belief or disbelief, or is it the pursuit itself, the destination?
No, I mean, in the Bible, it says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was the All, and the All created the Now, and the Now is everything. So that's what it is. I mean, meaning that it's a word game. It's a linguistic, like the Spirit floats through the Word. It is literally just empty vapor. God is just words. So you want to essentially be as proficient as possible in communication. A lot of people may have negative feelings about me because I have trolled so much, but my trolling is essentially stoic in my pursuit, meaning that I want to prove to people that they're not in control of their emotions. My word game is in control of their emotional response, and that's the game. That's hypnosis.
But that's also why your message isn't very effective.
No, I know.
Most people don't really choose to bother with you. I mean, you might, I don't know, if you're capable of really sorting that out.
No, I mean, it's also a game of self-improvement. So if I improve myself, I improve the world.
You might, I think you're delusional in the sense that you think that's sort of evidence of how brilliant you are in some sense. And I don't see it that way.
I mean, it's your opinion.
It's sort of like weird,
it's your opinion versus my opinion.
Talking to confuse people into thinking you have something to offer that you really don't.
I just call it comedy. I mean, I literally am a self-actualization comedian.
You're not funny.
I know, it's your opinion, though. That's the whole point. Is everybody's got their opinion. It's just everybody's a critic, It's just kind of like right now. It's like a show where people just stumbling and talk over each other, just insult each other. Can't let go of the past. Because that's kind of what meditation is. It's kind of just like you stop talking and you just listen. You just mute up. Just mute up, yeah.
But do you see how really useless your form of communication is?
Do you see how all communication is hypnosis?
It doesn't get any funnier the millionth time you repeat it.
I know. But the point is, it's just reflective of what you're doing. I mean, it's just hypnosis, and it's pointless. It's totally pointless. No money, no nothing. I mean, you're the schmuck. Is all communication projection?
I mean, this is what I say now. Like, watching you two argue proves a point. One mistake. I'm not arguing. It's okay. One mistake's performance for personality. The other defends mockery as art. Yeah, one realizes the real comedy is how seriously you're taking yourselves. I don't know why Benji's talking. It's a waste of time. Exactly my point. Arrogance. Yeah, what are you arrogant about, Benji? Again, exactly my point. You're just ready. You're like a war soldier, just ready to go. I'm not done speaking. not done speaking self-control.
Surrounded by
like I said before, it just like it shows how this man is just like a war soldier, ready to defend his position of why he considered to be right and everybody else is wrong and ready to go back and forth with him. I'm not done speaking. You see, this is a prime example. I'm not done speaking. He has to use profanity and try to insult your father because he has no habit. Look at the emotional outburst he's displaying right now. Look at the emotional outburst he's displaying. He's showing us why he's a piece of shit. He's stupid like Muslims doesn't love him. He's telling us how he's stupid. He's projecting on stage what he really is, and where
Benji has never said anything
right now. I haven't said anything towards him, and he's saying everything to me about how
being stupid. So shut the fuck up.
He's offended himself because he's stupid, and he's trying to say I'm stupid. So projection on the stage is why I show people what they do. He's showing us why he's a loser, and he's trying to say I'm a loser. Projection is a hell of a drug. So he just displayed to us everything that he goes on and takes place in his life, and he's trying to pin it on others. Rovius, why do you find yourself doing this?
You're probably the stupidest person on this app, you know that, right? It's like you and me and fucking who else? Who else is as dumb as you are trying to think? Esdras is I think he's mentally retarded or seriously delayed. You're amongst the ranks of those idiots.
Now he just gave us his opinion, and he added other people to the list of who else feels stupid according to Rovius.
Why don't you create your own content? Make your own thoughts. There's repeating lines to everybody.
I wasn't done speaking. Thank you. Self-control is something he also.
Hey, retard, shut up.
But now he's telling us how.
Hey, retard, shut your fucking Bible.
Now he's using profanity.
Hey, retard. Hey, retard.
What he's doing is showing to the whole stage.
I'm gonna turn my volume down till the retard's done talking.
He's very triggered what other people say, and he's just displaying us. I don't have to.
Can't hear you, retard. My volume's down.
Anything. And it just shows about he's definitely emotionally triggered.
Can't hear you,
So
retard.
tell us what happened to you as a child that made you reach to this point that you call other people stupid and you feel so superior.
Are your parents as stupid as you are? Is this like a generational thing?
Now he's telling us how his parents were stupid when he was a child. His parents, he said he was stupid when he was a child and his parents doesn't love him. So he's projecting on stage his emotions to us, and I'm just trying to figure out what made you reach this conclusion of life.
Does anyone on this panel know someone stupider than Benji on this app?
Now he's telling us how stupid he is than Benji. Now he's telling us how stupid he is than Benji. And I'm just trying to figure out the trauma that he goes through.
It's sad.
Tell me more.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Tell me more. Do you have anything intelligent or edifying to say to the room, or do you want to just keep projecting your emotions to us? Because you're more than welcome to.
My volume's down because the retard is still talking.
Okay. Do you have anything edifying or intelligent to say? You're more than welcome to.
Hey, Nigel, how's it going?
Okay, I think Dad, I was top. She might come back. She probably swiped out. Oh, she's back.
Sorry about that. Doing well, JCC. How are you? I got you.
Good.
I think Victoria is saying so much sadness and loneliness being displayed. Hopefully she won't be, she will be honest, even though Rovius is probably her friend, and show that he's very rude and disrespectful and threw a lot of insults out there. And I've just been wondering and trying to understand why he's been projecting on stage and calling everybody stupid and names and stuff like this. Maybe you can help him out. But, comedian, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about this app is you're going to meet all kinds of people, but if you're calling people stupid and getting angry at people, that's a you problem, especially if you're in a room that you didn't create. So it's really like a lack of personal responsibility and projection. And it's not just, Dr. Roivas, it's technically everybody because when you respond to a projection, you yourself project. So it is just a word game. And there's a Zen expression in this document called the Shin Shin Ming, which is faith mind, that says the more you think, the more you speak, the further from the truth you're going to get. You are the truth. So all this theist atheist debate is stupid because you're the truth. And thus, stop thinking and your problems. Words are the problem and the solution.
Yeah, I learned in my, like, you're not, it's nothing really to project when you're just mirroring. When people say, like, if he's calling me, like, doing insults or stuff like that, he's coming from a lonely place of sadness and anger. So when you just want to grasp and get why he's acting like this, it's not really me saying anything. It's just me trying to get him some understanding because I'm not reacting or doing anything to him. I just want to really know why he's coming from this level or this stance like Sharnito. And I think when I can tell when somebody has me blocked, and I can see Victoria, we was like good people. She come in my rooms and give me a round of applause for getting people in here she can debunk and stuff like this. I don't know, she probably blocked me after Sharnito blocked me. I just want to understand. I thought we was all friends and all one. Was it Jigsaw? Because we can get some help on that too. He probably can talk to you.
Does it bother you that you got blocked? If you didn't get blocked?
Not at all. Like I said before, I just want to have a conversation of why we reached that level, and maybe we can come to some common ground. That's all. Because everybody is welcome in my room. Everybody can speak. I give them the opportunity. Even you. Even sometimes you don't like the way I speak to you or comment you. But I give you the time to speak, say your perspective, and etc.
Yeah, so the blocking's...
You cut it out.
Hey, Benji.
What's up?
Am I clear?
Yes.
I have a little bit of a block list that has nothing to do with people personally. It's more of a behavior issue. When I'm in your room and you're doing the game, that's fine, and I'll go along with what you want in your rooms. And I've played the game. I've played your game. But when those people come into my rooms and I'm moderating and they don't follow my game, but they insist on coming in and they do that behavior over and over, they get blocked so that when I'm a moderator, which is rare unless it's my room, then they can't come in because they're just not moderatable. Right? So a few people are great in other rooms and I enjoy their company in lots of rooms, but because they're not moderatable, I don't want them in my rooms, and I don't want the vibe to be destroyed when they come in, and so that's my solution to that. So nothing personal. I really like your rooms, but you're not moderatable in some of the houses that I've had, so that's why.
Yeah, I could definitely respect that perspective. I don't recall me in your space with your moderation. A lot of people tell me I just don't recall me in your space, so I can respect your perspective and I understand where you're coming from. I really, really just want to speak to Sharnito because I feel like he's just very he just took it the wrong way, and I understand why.
We all have these things called memories, and we have been conditioning each other.
That's a good point.
And I just want to point out, because I'm going to go now, because I'm not generally in a room or on stage with comedian or any of his other variations.
Hello guys, Victoria, I love you to stay.
No, and while I was speaking, so I just wanted to say, Benji, I came up and made an exception to my rule because you had called me out, and I wanted to explain that, yeah, I do come in your rooms, and perhaps your behavior in the rooms previous were before you started opening up lots of rooms or something. So, we may be able to try this again sometime, but I'm going to head out, and I'll talk to you on another day.
All communication is hypnosis. Bye, Victoria. I didn't know, that she doesn't want to share space with me. I mean, he, actually. Because all communication is projection.
Why would you do that, comedian?
I didn't.
My God.
Doctor knew. She insulted me. She said she protects her spaces from me.
Bro. Just let it slide, bro.
It's not a woman, bro. It's a man that talks like a woman. It's a trans. It's a guy who dresses up and parades around as a woman. Yes, it is. That's a woman. That's not a man. I mean, that's a man. That's not a woman.
CCC, I wanted to talk to you that also. Hold on, no. I don't want to kick you right now. Just relax. But I see I stepped in a room with your friend Barbie and Enigma, and they wanted me, based on the conversation they having right now, I wanted to get your take on it. They had a problem with and wanted me to apologize and say sorry because I called Barbie a stir, and that he exactly according to what he is, and they took that as transphobic and disrespectful and belligerent. So, would you say me telling the truth of exactly what they are is a problem, or should I just be calling people what they want to identify as?
That's not for me to interject upon.
Okay, that's a good answer. How does anybody else feel?
About people asking you for an apology?
Yeah, Barbie and Enigma forcing me to, just like the conversation you just had of saying Victoria is a trans woman, etc. And then I seen Barbie and I just called him what he is and said, hello, sir, how's your day going? And they took it transphobic and rude and told me I have to give a statement of apology for calling them exactly what there is and not what they want to be identified. Just like you said at this moment with New. So do you think that is a problem, or is it okay for me to be calling somebody exactly what they are, like you just did?
Yeah, I don't find anything wrong with that, to accurately describe somebody. If they're going to play that game, they better have a thick skin.
But wait a second, Benji. Are you saying comedian identified Victoria as what?
He said that is not a she. You didn't hear him. He said that is not a she because Lou just said
he's making claims that Victoria is male when Victoria is not.
Yeah, he's making claims Victoria is a trans woman.
He said for what it is, right? What he is. That's not true either. So you're supporting him by saying, yeah, you are identifying Victoria as what they are. And that's
I'm just making, I don't know if that statement is true or not, but I'm basing it off my comment.
You are agreeing with him by saying he's choosing the right thing because it's true. And
I don't know if this thing, I'm saying it.
Don't tell him he's correct then.
You can't tell me what not to say or what to say. Everything you say, I just say is correct, even though I have a different assumption or might have a different perspective. I don't know if I'm just going with the statement of if a trans person that I know of that is trans and was a male and when I identify as a female, there's nothing wrong with calling that person exactly what they is. Now, if you're telling me that Victoria is a biological woman and is not a trans, then Okay, I apologize.
For all that I know, she is a biological female. She is never identified as other than that. She's never came out and said she is trans this, trans that. She is all woman, and that's what she agrees upon. And that's what she did.
I actually second that. I even see, like, she put her pictures for some time. I think she's an old lady. Like, I don't think.
Well, comedian is saying that you was wrong based on your assumption.
Yeah, but coming back to
I'm just going back to what I said. JCC is Barbie a trans woman? Yes or no?
Yeah, Barbie is trans. Barbie likes to be identified as a she, her, she, right? So when people say that to me, I respect that. I'm not going to get in your squabble between you and them. That's why I said that is not for me to comment upon.
You don't have to get into a squabble. Somebody, generally speaking, you don't have to put a name on it. Is it okay for calling somebody exactly what they are and not what they want to identify as? Like, see, that person said, yeah, you're a nigger. Okay, they fucking themselves and they say you're a nigger. Slavery.
Let's just base it upon you're on a voice app, right? And you hear somebody for the first time. And you say, what up, dude? And they go, no, please call me, I'm a she, her, she, right? They're letting you know they want to be identified as this. Now, if you agree, great, that's nice of you, right? You don't have to uphold that. However, it would be respectful. You can call them by their name and not use pronouns if you choose to do so. But don't intentionally mislabel them with pronouns that you want to label based on what you want to do because that's what they biologically are. That's all. So if you slip up here and there, that's totally understandable, right? Now, it shouldn't. If it's an accidental slip up, I don't think the knee-jerk reaction is that, oh, you fucking homophobe, blah, blah, blah. It can go both sides, man. People can overreact, right? There are many people on this app who are trans that don't get that offended when occasionally they call them by the biological pronoun, right? So, yeah.
Like comedian.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm perfectly calm and I was polite to Victoria, but I don't think that's a woman. And she called me out and said JCC, please let me finish speaking. Let me finish speaking. Let me finish speaking.
She's disrespectful because she's not here, and that's not cool. Grow some balls.
I'm not being disrespectful.
You little bitch, boy, comedian, you little coward.
Yeah.
I like how dude chimed in there. He got his yeah in there.
Insulting the ladies. That's all you got?
No, I don't spend my life doing this, but we, like she said, we come into contact in these rooms, and this is the price we pay for being on this app, is we communicate with people in shared spaces, and I'm fine with that. But I still call a star, and she's a star. Because every man and every woman is a star.
Well, why you are a comedian? I haven't seen any comedy, bro.
Oh, you haven't heard my show yet. It costs $10, but I'll give you a quick sample. Here it goes. Free, free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine. No more hummus, no more crime. Free, free, free Palestine. Thank you. That's $10. I'm going to be at the Chicago Theater this Friday at 10 p.m. Tickets are $4.20 a pop. Thank God and God bless. Health, wealth, love, and peace of mind.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with calling people what they are. I think everybody should start following. I think the next time you see that person, you should definitely call that person what they are.
Just like you told me I can't tell you what to say, you can't tell me what to say.
But is it telling the truth to somebody is a problem? Why would you lie to them?
I already told you my side of it, right?
But why would you lie to them?
I'm not lying.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not lying. They are coming out saying they are trans. I understand what that means to be trans, and they want to identify as this gender.
If somebody didn't cut off their genitals or whatever, or their penis,
they're not saying that their sex has changed. They're gender identifying as.
Yeah, does that sound logical?
Gender and sex Gender and sex are
like if I say transracial, if I say I'm transracial, and I'm about to tell you, and people out here saying they're transracial. That means they're a black man, but want to be identified as a white man, because you can look this up too. They're black men, but want to be identified as a white man. So would you take that logical?
What do you mean? So someone says, call me a white man?
Yeah, they're transracial. I'm serious. You could look this up. It's trans.
Okay, cool. So are you saying that's their pronoun instead of he, them, he, him? They're I am white man. That's their pronoun.
Yeah, they're saying they're identified. They was born a black man, but they're saying, hey, I'm transracial. Even though I was born black, I identify as a white man.
So is that their pronoun? Is that what their pronoun is?
Okay.
Okay, but I'm asking you a very simple, direct question. Is that their pronoun, white man?
But why are you asking me a question with a question?
Because you haven't answered it yet.
But I asked you a question first, and you're answering me with a question.
You didn't ask me a question.
Yes, I did. I said, is that a logical stance for them to take, even though they was born a black man, and everybody can see they're black, and their mother and family are black, and they identify as a white man? Is that logical to call them that, even though we can absolutely see, based on observation, they are black?
Well, I don't walk, so logically, no, it doesn't line up for me. However, I don't walk around and say, hey, black man, how are you today? Hey, white man, how are you? I don't identify people with the pronoun white or black or tan or red or burnt or red. I don't call people by their level of melanin in their skin. That's obviously we are different human beings, but we're all the same. It's all one race. We're all human beings, right? People are different based upon their genetic makeup. It doesn't change who we are as a humanity, right? So I don't go around identifying somebody, hey, black man, how are you today, Bill? You know?
Do you call white people bigots?
When they behave like a bigot.
I haven't, based on my observation, I haven't seen you call a white person a bigot yet. Why do you call black? Why do you call black people bigots?
Hey, wow. I have.
What is the definition of bigot?
Someone who is degrading others based upon their cultural and ethical background.
Oh my!
Look how racist this is.
Oh
what?
KKK.
This is like white supremacists all over.
Are you really saying that about me?
This is like white supremacists all over.
Are you fucking Benji? Here's where I really this conversation is going off the fucking rails. You're making you're making false allegations about me.
This is white supremacists all over.
What the fuck are you talking about? How am I
definitely mental health?
And you're gonna overtalk me. You're fucking overtalk me, aren't you?
Okay, JC, explain why you call people like that.
Call people like what?
I don't know the word you described.
Bigot.
If someone is behaving in a manner that constitutes them being a bigot, regardless of the amount of melanin in their skin or their cultural ethnic background, I call them a bigot. And I've called other people who are the lighter skin persuasion a bigot because they were behaving like a bigot in a room that I was in.
Okay, but mostly it's black people that you call
people. Yes, it is.
Mostly?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because you're in the rooms that's occurring, right? So when they call me, shut up, cracker, shut up, white man, shut up, fucking crack-addicted, cracker-head, motherfucking crusty old fuck, that's bigoted behavior. So I'll call them out. Anyway, this was fun. Y'all fuck off.
Yeah, you better run now.
Oh my god. Bring him back, bro. I'm gonna go talk to him. He will come back. He's fun, lots of fun. Fuck you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like, I don't know. See, he's his own worst enemy because you can use profanity towards me and it doesn't make me feel good. But at the same time, I'm not going to get angry about it and escalate it and yell back. So the way to transmute, this experience is essentially to replatform him and make him into a cartoon, because this is a comedy show and he's, creating dopamine in an unhealthy way. But as the listener or observer, it's important to transmute this negative type of communication into a positive spin, which is, replatforming and monetization, aka the publishing industry.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a new room, y'all. So if y'all wanna exit today, y'all more than welcome to.
World can get access to the internet, right? And so if you just use balloons, you need like thousands of balloons. They're getting blown away everywhere. They're falling down everywhere. Like it would be a really unintelligent way of providing internet access, don't you think?
Not at all. It'd be similar to the Concorde. See, the Concorde used to go up to a certain altitude to avoid all those atmospheric changes. So for the most part, you can send a balloon up somewhere near to the top of it.
So I'll call now. Anyway, this is fun. Y'all fuck off.
Yeah, you better run now.
Oh my god. Big impact, bro. We're all the same. It's all one race. We're all human beings, right? People are different based upon their genetic makeup. It doesn't change who we are as a humanity, right? So I don't go around identifying somebody, hey, black man, how are you today, Bill? You know?
Do you call white people bigots?
Which gravity
Newton was thrown out by Einstein. And Einstein's been thrown out by 2 Nobel Prize winners. So right now, Einstein is wrong and Newton is wrong.
And were either of those Nobel
It's like a
Prize
perfect dinner for schmucks.
Quantum theorists. So I guess your concept of gravity right now is based on something that's 100% theory.
Yeah, of course. Like most science is, Minus. You have to understand that, man. And that's
So
better
how
than
can we trust
religion.
your imagination? I came in the room and you're talking about Jar Jar Binks.
I don't remember that part. That's an awesome conversation. Dave, do you remember that?
Remember what? I'm sorry. What?
He was out here trying to navigate some black holes, some dwarf black holes and supernova. Brother, I mean,
You were doing what to black holes, Jeremy?
what's up, Day Day, man? You good?
Hello.
I thought it was something about Jar Jar Binks, but Minus, do you think what's better, man? If you don't know something, is it better to say God did it, or is it better to say I don't know, man? But let's work on that.
No, but I mean, like right now, you just imagine it, right? The Willy Wonka time, it's Harry Potter time, Lord of the Rings time. Y'all just making up stuff as you go along. It's kind of ridiculous for grown men to be doing this, unless you're writing a book on stupidness.
But I guess we were
God
talking
bless you.
about
Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. Read the Bible. Learn something for real, for once.
I'm all up in the Bible. I know that thing back and forth. Man.
These his emotions, thoughts, and I'm just trying to figure out what made you reach this conclusion of life. Like, I was kind of like I was going stupid and then you
Is that all you wanted to do?
So guys,
Hello.
That's very, but that's probably weird to see.
Bro, I was reading articles about all the Congresman, like how they operate. You know, how the plane flies in the stratosphere because it's very thin, so it has life resistance. So the plane just kind of like coasted through.
Also, the jets are rocking.
Well, clouds and don't ever reach past the first layer. Like water and all that, it don't ever go past the first layer.
One of the coolest things about it is I love what I'm talking about is it's made out of real position, real about the down atmosphere. Looking at the clouds from the bottom, looking down is one of the coolest fucking things. Because you just imagine these dark clouds laying in obviously it's like, fucking beautiful thing. But I think all the fucking clouds are below you.
And it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Canada, what's up,
look
bro?
at my wife over there.
It's not good
No,
when
wait,
you're
no,
blind.
the neighbors say bananas like your problem.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Like, but that's good with Debbie Downer. Yeah, except for the
If you get really bad nods.
But yeah, the clouds look bad. It's like I saw a video of somebody who skydived through a cloud. It's like you cannot touch them. It's like, just air. But I think it will feel nice to be able to skydive through a cloud. I would hit barrel, thunderball that is.
That's insane. How much clouds weigh? You would be like on the way as he turns to you.
How much they weigh?
Yeah, it's insane.
No, tell me.
Can't handle the truth. No,
Come.
I'm kidding. Your typical kind of white, fluffy cloud will weigh about 1.1 million pounds, or 500,000 kilograms.
Excuse me, Jesse Pinkman.
Oh, damn, like,
Detective Comanche. Albuquerque Police.
I don't know.
We have a few minutes of your time. Maybe go someplace to talk.
Bobby, are you religious?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. We just want to clear a few things up. No big deal.
I was raised Catholic, but I think I'm agnostic. I want to believe there's a God, but I don't know if there's actually.
Oh, I remember. You're like super confused.
Maybe. Confused about what?
I don't know. God.
I don't know. It's always been interesting to me, just the reality that we exist and that I'm conscious, and I don't know where the hell I came from. That's always been really interesting to me.
We have to came from somewhere though. Like, if you go to the very, very, very beginning. Yeah, lizards.
But even if we were created in like a simulation, it's still crazy to me how like each one of us is conscious and we can perceive things and feel things, and we're in like the first person. That just is really interesting.
They count.
What did they
So
count?
doesn't there have to be a start? Like,
Yeah, I mean, how far back you want to go though?
Did the chicken came first or the egg?
The egg.
No, this is all wrong.
Thinking about a hair transplant.
This is actually recorded. The red jungle fowl laid an egg that came out of chicken because they domesticated it. So eventually the eggs came out chicken. How is this so wrong?
I wasn't sure.
So you're not joking. If you were joking, you would not be Muslim. I'm sorry. I don't.
How dare that?
I don't know. I think there has to be a supernatural power somehow. Even if we in a simulation, the creators of the simulation are the superpowers for us. But, like, I'm watching Rick and Morty.
You think you're smart.
1 week again.
Since it was you who caught me.
I love.
No, I'm not smart.
So
Then how did you catch me?
So top tier. But here's something somebody introduced to me the other day about simulation that I was like, ooh, actually, I have not thought
You're
about that.
insane.
Right? Because I look
By
at it and
implication, you think you're smarter than I am.
just like the simulation.
It was you who caught me. No, I'm not smart. And how did you
Like, who believe in it, or?
The possibility. And the reasons for simulation. As a result of
But isn't a simulation kind of technical program? Like,
Exactly. This is why I think it's less than 50%, but not. So if you think about it, right, the original humans on Earth created a simulation that mimicked that. They had technology that enabled them to do it so perfectly that let's not do work on simulation we can't tell. Right? But then we go to logic, but that simulation being so perfect, replicate of the original would also bring technology to a level enable them to create a simulation underneath them. And that would continue to infinity. Wait, here it goes. So you would say, like, Jeremy, doesn't that mean the chances we are one original on a million, hypothetically, doesn't that mean that we're one in a million? The original, so we're most likely a simulation? No. It means that we're less than 50% surprised because we live in a simulation, potentially, that doesn't have the technology to create another simulation. That only mean one of two things. Either we get the very last of the simulation, or we are the original. So we're still but the reason why we're less than 50 is I would say that the way we take those situations or don't live in the simulation, and as a result, we are the original. So, you're
like, if there wasn't no squirrels, I'd be like, oh, maybe we could be. You know?
The squirrels are just fluffy-tailed rats. Fucking, that's racism. Squirrel adoration and rat hate is just pure racism.
But what's the point of, like our consciousness is derived from supposedly, if you guys agree with me, evolution, right? And if there's a simulation theory, evolution would just seem kind of stupid. Like, it's not like, oh, now I have consciousness and that's why I'm in the simulation. Apparently, simulation created the slow process of evolution to be able to eventually lead to somebody smart enough to know where they're at.
You ever play World of Warcraft?
Yes.
Exactly. Hey, how fucking long it takes to get to level fucking 60? That's design. That's programmed by design.
I mean, you could cut it down really short if you just grind and don't sleep. I mean, and, just get coffee. I mean, it will take you a few weeks and you will pass by like a year.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? And this is the third possibility. What if we're these little humans living in a simulation on Earth that was created by another civilization that are not human at all, not on Earth?
Yeah, the simulation theory is basically just some higher advanced being creating this simulation because they think that, like, if you are such a high enough civilization, you can create a simulation of life, and then anybody could potentially be born in that life and have consciousness struck there and by randomness, and then you'll be living in a simulation from some higher being.
So I think those two things are radically different. And I'll tell you why. A simulation created by humans like us to create another Earth-like civilization that's simulated upload.
Well, we can. Now we can talk about any kind of slavery.
Hold on, Ron.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, bro. Stellar, what do you want to say? Do you not agree with Lieb? Do you want to say something, Lieb? Stellar, hello. Okay, you're not there apparently. Stellar,
okay, so
Tyler. I'm talking to Tyler. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. And so, Lieb,
oh my God.
Well, that's my whatever handler.
It's fine. I don't know. Do you think that systemic racism exists, and do you think it's a real problem?
I think it exists. I think it is a problem, but I think it's a problem that is overinflated in terms of importance. I think it's something that a lot of people blame and lean on, but in reality, it's something that is not as prevalent and as detrimental as a lot of people claim it is. But Lieb, I just wanted to say, do you not think that something like slavery, so like the slavery of, it doesn't even have to be black people, right? So I mean, in America it was black people, but in other European systems it was other people. I don't know, the Jewish people supposedly building the pyramids, Slavic people. I mean, if it's a race of people who are systemically oppressed and enslaved because of their race, do you not believe that is systemic racism?
Okay, so they can I answer? Okay, so they weren't like enslaved just because of their race. They were enslaved because that was the cheapest supply of labor at the time. If it had been like a cheap population or a cheaper population of, like, let's say Chinese people somewhere, then it would have been that. But it's just coincidence. And to imagine that, like, okay, a society that existed like a century and a half ago is like exactly the same thing. It's not because of their race.
thing is, listen to me. Look, if Ukraine don't get along with Russia, it's deeper than what you guys are talking about. You know, the thing is, it's one.
So we're talking about that right now. That doesn't really have to do with slavery or systemic racism.
It's not real. It's not real.
Rock. I don't know that you're tracking, bro. I think you might be on another planet. You're talking like you're saying a bunch of weird stuff, dude. So please just hang tight. You'll be able to talk, but just please hang tight. You can go ahead and say what you want to, Tyler.
Yeah. So, Lee, how about this? How about World War II, right? So that the Nazis systematically enslaved Jewish people based on racial ideology. Do you believe that that was systemic racism?
I would have to say so.
Okay, so you do believe that systemic racism necessarily a large or pervasive problem.
It's not the same situation. I mean, like you said, okay, during the event, okay, so the conditions are different. So I mean, okay, if you could take a whole bunch of people and put them in like a concentration camp because you didn't care for them, okay, and you look and you see all of these like store robberies and all of the jail and all of the things.
All religious exercises, whether they are meditative or whether they are ritualistic.
If anybody was a candidate to end up in that situation, it would be them, but that's not what happens. So if you explain every single thing that's wrong, okay, systemic racism, then you're saying that because some people.
Your mic has some reverb. Can you fix it? It sounds kind of crappy. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I thought it was just me, but bro, yeah, something's wrong with your mic.
Yeah, hang tight.
Is that better? I rolled up the windows. Is that better?
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
So I'm saying it's not the same thing. It's like, okay, an example of when people expand something and they inflate words. I could give you Isabel Wilkerson. She's like a famous author, and she wrote that book called Caste. And she was talking about the Indian caste system, and she was trying to over-apply it to the United States case and said that because black people consistently are like losers in the economic game, then it must be the same as the Indian caste system. So it's overstretching your analogy, is what I would call it. Now, if some people are in a concentration camp, I would say that's probably systemic racism. But if you end up in jail because you can't stop, robbing gas stations, and it's more of you in jail than some other people, that's not systemic racism.
So do you think anything below a concentration camp can qualify as systemic racism? I mean, that's like a very high standard to meet, right? So unless we're having like an active Holocaust, I personally think that systemic racism can exist, but it is way overblown. One example is, so I was on a bus in South Boston the other day. I'm from the Boston area, and I found myself on a bus in what's the nicest way to put it, a diverse area. And as soon as I got on this bus,
So in religion, all religious exercises, whether they are meditative or whether they are ritualistic, are whoopee. They are not something you do in order to attain anything. They are like art forms, like dancing. They are expressive of attainment. So in religion, all religious exercise. So in religion,
because I hopped on the bus with my white skin, right? I mean, it's I'm not sitting here pretending I'm like super oppressed or anything. I mean, for fuck's sake, man. Like,
well, Tyler, let me weigh in on that, because if you talked about the reverse, let's say we talked about men versus women.
if you say something to a woman, it may mean one thing, but if she says that exact same thing to you as a man, it means something completely different because of the power dynamic. So I think when you're talking about the power dynamic in the history, so if a black person says that thing to a white person, it goes it's a little less deeper than when a white person says it to a black person. Like if you say black power, nobody's threatened. When you say white power, motherfuckers is thinking about Nazi Germany and shit. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole different context when you say certain things as the group in power. So that's a false equivalency if you're trying to just say, you said it to me, if I said it in reverse, it's not the same.
You gotta let me go.
But why is it excused in the one situation, though? I was on a bus full of people. If I was on a bus full of white people, I guarantee you somebody would have said, hey, man, that's not correct. I was on a bus full of people who were non-white, and not a single person said anything, mentioned anything, did anything. I mean, in fact, probably some people were nodding their heads like fucking white boy, It seems to me that this is not the way to solve racism. This is not the way to the score.
I agree. I think it's wrong. I'm not defending it. I just think it doesn't have the same effect.
Definitely doesn't. So Tyler, to go back on what you said, okay?
Fleming.
So you can go
ahead. I think you're cut. Or I am. Is he cut now?
Yeah, bad connection. Whoever that is, you have no connection.
Okay, go ahead, Fleming. Go ahead, buddy.
So, Ninja, I apologize. I don't want to steal your thunder, but to Tyler, first off, systemic racism is codified by law. I literally wrote my master's degree on this. It's codified by law because of the fact that different. It's also, in a way, in medical racism. We could talk about the Tuskegee experiment. We could talk about that. And I wrote my paper on that.
Wait, so everybody in the Tuskegee experiment is dead.
No, listen. Hold on, real quick. I want Sasha to talk to you, Fleming, real quick. Did you say you have a master's degree? What did you say?
Yeah, I have my master's degree in public health. So I studied public health. I studied how black women died because they had a different doctor that was a different race. Or first off, from a scientific standpoint, there's no race. We are the same species. The fact of the matter is that you are a black person, you are more likely to die because of the fact that you have a different physician than your own race. That's the sad part. It's systemic. It's systemic.
Okay, can you give me some numbers for this?
Okay, it's systemic.
How many more
it's systemic. It's systemic.
100,000 if you have a black doctor, and then 2 out of 100,000 if you have like a non-black doctor. It might be statistically significant, but is it practically significant? And could it be explained by other factors?
Yeah. Dude.
I'm literally.
I do. Hold on real quick. So I agree with you. I agree. I think the same stuff will come out later that you're going for because I agree with you. I think there's problems. I'm a little concerned about you citing your education, Fleming. You're kind of sounding a little weird to me with some stuff you're saying.
In religion,
you just said
religious exercise.
I don't think that's true. I think Bob pointed out in the chat. Sasha. Law and in health, so far as claimed.
Is there actually any law which says black people don't have access to this and white people?
3 things you probably didn't know about COVID. So diversion is accountability. The case was submitted to us by the police. We did not decline it. We looked at the case.
This video is for the survivor.
So people don't just over talk her.
For those who don't know me, I have a PhD in the Zionist brain. So I've been studying this topic for about 2 decades now. I've been interacting with them. I've even lived in the wild among them for almost a decade.
So it was a legal.
This is the moment a 16-year-old broke down in court after being denied bond for the murder of another teen. 16-year-old Sean Simpson is being charged under a new law that allows 16 and 17-year-olds to be charged as adults. He is accused of fatally shooting 16-year-old Zaquavius Dawkins, who was running errands for his mother, when he was shot 3 times in the back on North Chester Street. Simpson also tried to kill the victim's friend, who was in.
The system, as it exists historically, it claims people of color. Do you remember what the question is? I'm sorry, I didn't hear because I was talking to you. I do. That's what I was talking about, CRT. Yes, I do.
This is what neighbors hear sometimes as late as 11 p.m. coming from this nondescript warehouse in East Hollywood. According to some neighbors, it's used by rapper Ye, also known as Kanye West.
They've got metal walls now. We don't really know what's going on.
But many can hear the noise coming from behind the gate, which they say is blaring on loudspeakers.
It sounds like there's like raves and concerts here in the weekends, and then in the weekdays there's been noises, there's been groups of men doing like push-ups and exercises over here. You can hear music like blaring from the parking lot.
Is it a problem for the neighborhood?
It can be. I mean, it's noisy at night.
Last month, a flyer with Ye's name on it was circulated, seeking all male volunteers for a hooligan choir. It bold letters read, quote, "No fat people, and must be comfortable wearing swastikas," and had this location listed. Police were also called out to the area, which is near Kingsley and Beverly, after a
constitutional because the fact of the matter is, you're stopping people based on race. Yeah, but you're not tracking. That's Sasha. It really is not. No, it's not. I don't know if this is going to go well, Sasha.
But it's like, there are laws where, like, these are enforcing, like that kind of fair. It's like, I don't know, maybe, like, the court systems are harsher with black people over white people. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like that legal difference. There's not at the level of just a law.
Here's what the agents beating you right now are doing differently and why it has nothing to.
We've noticed you around the town a little bit. Been taking some pictures. Just wanted to engage with you, see why you're taking pictures. Any phone there, taking pictures on your phone?
I'm not a.
Have you taken pictures on your phone?
And I see my brother saying that so much.
Well, do you want to show me your photos?
Do
you want to see my photos?
Tell you that we've been observing you from afar and haven't been watching you. And I said to them,
Look at my photos. I want a big picture of my penis.
Whatever. It has to say whatever.
Oh, okay, okay.
Why would you
Things that police, policing
take
society,
pictures?
it's
my penis?
Unfair.
This area.
It's a disparity.
It's unfair.
It's a different question. It's a different question whether or not everybody goes through the process and they come out the same as to whether or not the laws
You initially said it is codified. So, like,
Hey, turn your phone.
Sorry, excuse me. Excuse me.
I think the standard
Men dressed as prostitutes reading filth to children. Look at all these people here. That's the protection of grooming.
Get your hand off me! Get your hand off me!
Look at this, lads. They're all around me.
To a group of people when it was meant
Remember.
in the first place.
So it's not serious.
Let's shift. I'm not asking any of you.
Yeah. Hold on.
I'm
Actually,
asking Fleming.
And I said you.
pursue Fleming. I think it might actually be better to shift to Noel. Chelsea, but you can pursue Fleming. I think D, the woman above you that just spoke, that would probably be a better candidate for engaging, on the actual. Might not be aggressive, but I can say. So, I would like to talk about
I know seen as many times.
Bro, you gotta think outside the box. It's a smudge in every bottle. Put all the smudges together, now you get to a whole holy bottle. You see, you gotta go back because you wanna.
Agreed.
Disagree.
I'm asking Fleming, the fuck is wrong with you people?
You have no type of self-control, I see. Fleming.
No, you don't have self-control. I'm asking a specific person a question.
Sasha be going off the hook with the way he be talking disrespectfully to people.
And you can't control yourself enough, and you control yourself
Learn how
enough.
to not cuss and have an intelligent conversation.
Sasha's difficult to talk to, guys.
Emotional man.
You don't know Sasha?
Hold on, Sam.
Maybe, I don't know if it's your first name.
Hold on, Sam. Hold on. Okay, so Fleming agreed. Sasha, do you want to move to, can you talk to Noel? Can you guys start over?
Yeah, I don't want to talk to her. She's fucking stupid. Hey, sister,
What was your least favorite video?
Probably when Tony told me I was going to do a shoot in a scuba mask.
Can you hear me in there? She can't hear nothing. But she thinks we're doing a little photo shoot right now. Mikey, can you hear me? In the mask. This is to increase your oxygen flow as we're filming.
Lied to me. I've never been stoned before in my life.
So this is my client, Alec. What was your least favorite video? Prosecutors charged a Brown Deer woman in a shooting death of her neighbor. They say it stemmed from a complaint over loud music. Dr. Ankintunde Bowden, a well-known dentist, died in the shooting. The suspect is claiming self-defense. Here's the news report.
Gianna McGowan sobbed in court Thursday, charged with reckless homicide in the shooting death of her downstairs neighbor, 41-year-old.
Chicago Fire Department investigators say the garage fire that led to this.
Hold on, Steve.
He just conceded the point, right? Like, I asked him, like, what definition of racist he was using. He cited the source. I went to the source. And we agreed that the source he cited gave a definition.
Chicago Fire Department.
Which didn't preclude him from being racist.
Yeah. So I would like to talk to the topic. It's very long, kind of hard to track. I think there's I mean, it would be cool to hear what you actually, because I know you did this wrong. You're a Christian, which is very, very, very liberal. That's what you know, you're and you know that, right? That's a fair criticism. You accept that. I'd like to talk to it's just, I don't know, it's just difficult. We don't want people like losing.
No, I understand. I'll try to be.
To join friends that night, including one from the Congressional Black Caucus, which he had once chaired. He attributed his apprehensiveness to the gut instincts acquired from a lifetime in politics. If it doesn't go well, he thought, I don't want anyone to see me cry. He sequestered at his Washington condo, mixing Diet Pepsi into a glass of Jack Daniels before he settled in. Maybe that would settle his nerves. Maybe. Dunn, the grande dame of Beltway Public Relations, locked her blue eyes on a video conference from her Washington home. She had helped run Biden's prep sessions that week at Camp David. But instead of flying to the Atlanta debate with him and the rest of the campaign brain trust, she had driven back to the nation's capital. In private White House deliberations, her counsel had evolved. At first, she entertained the idea of sticking a knife in presidential debates altogether. Once it was clear that Biden would not run from a fight, she argued successfully for an early first debate date. A big win might shake up a static race in which Trump held a small but stubborn lead. If things went sideways, as they often did for incumbents in the first debate of their re-election campaigns, it would give Biden more time to recover. Biden and the rest of his inner circle agreed with her reasoning. Now, Dunn homed in on a screen showing campaign pollster David Binder leading a small set of swing state voters in a focus group. This way, she would be able to monitor the voters' reactions to the candidates in real time, measured by dials they used to rate responses. Dunn believed Biden had not practiced enough, but she soothed herself with the hopeful, perhaps revisionist, thought that he had a history of overperforming at crucial moments. Maybe he could dig down one more time to find a little Biden magic. Maybe. In a luxury condo on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, a few blocks from his favorite cigar lounge, Reverend Al Sharpton held his expectations in check. The once chubby radical activist now had a sleek frame and confirmed status
Guys that are falling out with his liberal father and seeking different things to dare the hoods of exonologist, moron, fraud, and a high-speed internet infrastructure scammers.
He had become a fixture on MSNBC. Though his own presidential ambitions had fallen well short, he was an astute observer of political talent. Joe can hold his own. Sure, 0 hour near, but he's not a knockout punch debater. Perhaps the rules, particularly one silencing the microphone of the candidate who wasn't speaking, would cut to Biden's benefit and frustrate the interjection happening. John Morgan drizzled a deep bucket of fresh popcorn while pre-game debate punditry droned in the background. Feeling a thrill of excitement, the nation's most prominent personal injury lawyer treated himself by pouring a full-calorie Coke over ice. Biden's going to mop the floor with Trump, he thought, popping a few kernels into his mouth as CNN co-moderators Jake Tapper and Dana Bash appeared on his screen to introduce the candidates. Then a single camera shot focused on Biden for the first time that night, and the Democratic universe began to unravel. His face is so pallid, Pelosi thought. Biden, his hair wispy and white, walked gingerly toward his lectern, waving at an Zion!
All people do is talk about the Jews. 5 o'clock in the evening, let's talk about the Jews. 6 o'clock Jews, 7 o'clock Jews, all created Jew News Network.
Arms folded across chests, and heads shook in confusion in the opening minutes.
That's what I like there. I forgot about that. Jew News Network.
Looked around the party and noticed
Jew
Senator Amy Klobuchar, a Minnesota Democrat and former presidential candidate, good and bad nationally televised debate performances.
Jewish News Network, JNN, interviewing the deepest psychologically deranged people. You're Jewish! Colonizer! Zionist colonizer! Apartheid, racist. From my people. So you can't do it.
Nature and politics. But on debate night, with the eyes of the nation upon him and the hopes of the Democratic Party clinging to his frail...
Educate my brain. I don't want to just listen to people say Jews, science, Jew, all people do is talk about the Jews. 5 o'clock in the evening, let's talk about the Jews. 6 o'clock Jews, 7.
Moments later, he trailed off into nonsense mid-sentence, asserting that he would make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with COVID. Biden knew that didn't sound right. He cut himself off. His lids covered his eyes as he looked down to the lectern in front of him. He searched inside for an answer. As Biden paused in silence, millions of Democrats' hearts stopped. They stared at the expressionless face, pale with horror show makeup. They waited for him to say something. Anything but the phrase that next escaped his dry lips. Lifting his chin, gathering his poise.
All created Jew News Network. That's what I like there. I forgot about that.
Well, he's right. He did. And he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. On a much deeper level, Biden altered the course of the 2024 election in a profound way. In that moment, and in a cavalcade of stumbles that night, he showed voters that his
Educate my brain. I don't want to just like listen to people say Jews, 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 science, 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 Jew, 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 Jews, the Jews, the Jews, 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 science, 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 Jew, 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 science, 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 Jew, 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 science, science.
So they're in religion.
They ran against each other the first time.
Oh,
Science, science, science. People, both physically and intellectually. Trump couldn't believe it. It took him some time. He had been right about Biden. His attack. Biden absorbed blows and didn't punch back. How do I keep hitting him without coming off as an asshole? Trump thought. And if I stop hitting him, will viewers lose interest? He suddenly became acutely aware of the optics of bullying a sitting president of the United States. He could go too far. They all think I'm going to go off the rails, Trump thought. Instead, he drew back. An odd note that sounded almost like sympathy touched Trump's voice after Biden spit forth word salad during an answer about border security. I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence, Trump said. I don't think he knows what he said either. In a nearby hold room, senior Trump advisors Susie Wiles, Jason Miller, and Stephen Miller sat speechless. Coming into the debate, they had worried that Trump was not taking his informal prep session seriously enough, and that Biden might exceed a low bar of expectations. This was too good to be true. Holy shit, thought Wiles, who seldom let profanity slip through her lips. Back in Washington, Pelosi's phone exploded. Messages from alarmed Democrats poured in. She shot a text to Morgan, the donor in Florida. What are you seeing? What are you thinking? This is a natural disaster playing out before our very eyes, wrote Morgan, who could be counted among Biden's staunchest loyalists. His phone pinged. It was Pelosi again. John Morgan says this is a disaster. The text was a mistake. She had intended to send it to her husband. Life was suddenly moving very fast for everyone but Biden, whose brutal night continued to unfold in ruthlessly slow motion. Even as recently as the 2020 election, Biden had been capable of responding rapidly on a debate stage. During a primary debate in Miami in 2019, Representative Eric Swalwell, a California Democrat, suggested Biden
You and me, both of us, fist that between you and me.
Did you know that if you were born like a couple hundred years?
In 2023, at the annual White House picnic for members of Congress, that he first became concerned about Biden's mental acuity. When they came face to face, Biden did not immediately recognize his one-time rival for the party's nomination. Swalwell had to cue Biden with personal details to remind him.
You know, just want to have an actual conversation. So Chris, what would you say then the goal is of your particular position, right? Is it to create a situation in which there's like a mutual respect between races? Is it correcting historical, sort of inequities? Because the problem with me is redefining racism as being like a matter of power plus prejudice. It seems to me to not be interested in actually correcting like historical, or at least like creating a level sort of playing field among the races. Like it seems to me to be giving a bit more deference and privilege to one, or at least to people who are deemed as being historically oppressed. That it means that in order to correct that, we need to give them specifically, an advantage that they didn't have in the past. Would you say that that's the case?
That's actually when you take that exact statement and apply it to the other side. That's exactly their sentiment. This belief that they're oppressed.
I'm asking about your sentiment, though, Chris.
I think that it's projection, because typically, like, when you're debased from like foundational truths, you just exist in your feelings, and your feelings are just going to project. There's a way of running away from that truth. So
I'm asking about your position, though, Chris.
My position is at its core that this is a problem when it comes to security. It's a problem when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to strength, when it comes to critical thinking. It's a problem.
Do you believe that Black people should be given special consideration when it comes to something like hiring or, positions of power to correct historical inequities?
They should have considerable access.
Do you think that they should be given special consideration when it comes to things like hiring or, positions of power?
Yeah, I think that.
Yes.
Yes, when you look at the history of this country,
based on the basis of race.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't just be race, but I think that those are some of the things that should be considered. Yeah.
So you think that people of a certain race should be given preferential consideration over people of another race?
I don't think that it's essentially like preferential. It's like where you prefer this or whatever, but you prefer a diversity of thought and experiences, because what you're failing to understand in that it's not just about the race of the person. It's just that you are anticipating that because of their lived experiences, that they may have a different perspective on things, that through their story and their experiences, they may be able to bring something else to the table that we're missing. And so even in the same way that our Congress works, where we deliberate over bills and laws, right, we have different arguments that come to the floor that create more of a language around what is the thing that we're actually trying to accomplish. And so when people go through different experiences and you're not interested in their voices, right, you don't just lose their voice, you lose what they had to say and how that, can and the wisdom that we could get from that. Like, it's, why do you hold space for people if you don't find them to be valuable at all?
I don't think that's what I said. I certainly don't think that's ever what I said.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying that that's what you were saying. I was just saying that rhetorically. It's like, why do you not want to realize the potential of people who make up 13% of the population?
Yeah, so Chris, can I just tell you, it's like straight out my concern with sort of the social justice type angle of things. And I tend to honestly probably among this crowd here, at least in this room, tend to be much more friendly to that sort of viewpoint. But my concern, sort of at its base, is just that if what we're doing, again, and it's why I asked about the goal. I know they made fun of me, but who the fuck cares? Like, the idea is that if the goal is to create actual racial equity, right, we're not going to do that by giving preferential treatment to one race of people over another race of people, right? If our goal is to create, a world in which, people are respected based on, them as people or who they are or their character, their morality, right? We're not going to do that by saying, well, this one race was historically mistreated, therefore they should be given sort of special consideration in dealings, whether, again, I just gave a couple examples like hiring or, in sort of, executive positions, or if, the more important thing is representation, quote unquote. I hear that word a lot, but in reality, I take it to mean that, people of certain groups are expected to be represented, right? We need to hire people who represent this race, this gender, this particular group of traditionally oppressed people. And if we do that, if we give them sort of positions of privilege, it seems to me as though we're just creating another system of inequality, another system of privilege, and another system of, advantage over others based on on race, and it doesn't seem to me to be getting us closer to our goal if our goal is truly to have equality.
Tyler, let me ask you a question. What state are you in? And there's a point. I'm making a point.
I am in Massachusetts.
So you're in a small state. Do you believe in an electoral college?
Typically, no. But if I'm going to be 100% honest with you, it's if it advantaged me, I'd probably be more amenable to it.
Just using that example, for smaller states that don't have the population to compete with the bigger states, they do have a system in place. The electoral college is sort of a DEI. For the minority states, the smaller states, for them to have equal access, they give them more votes. They give them more representatives. They have a system that kind of equals things out for the bigger states. So the bigger states don't keep running the table.
I typically disagree with that system.
Okay.
So it's probably not a great example because I believe that the popular vote, for the most part.
I got you, and I agree with that as well. But there is arguments from the smaller states, the red states, the states down south, who argue that they need certain types of representation to battle against the bigger states. So that argument has been made throughout our nation.
Because it gives them more power, it gives them more say, it gives them more.
Yeah, but I think DEI
or in this context of what you're losing to. Let's be honest. It's probably it's just that it gives them more leverage, right? It gives them more power. It gives them more say. If that's the reason why they like it. I mean, it's probably not a great example.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with the application of we gotta hire a black person at the expense of a white person. If we're gonna give the job to a white person, they're both equally qualified. No, I wouldn't do that. But if I would say there needs to be more consideration or more deliberate. Getting what's his name said, more diversity of thought and experiences. Because if I look in a room, if I'm a white CEO and all the CEOs are white, and I look around and they're all white males, white Christian males, maybe I'd be like, you know what, I need to go ahead and, give some diversity in this room, and then therefore I would have to go out and look at different places different pipelines to say I want more Indians, I want more blacks, I want more women, I want more gays to be in this room for that thought. So I'm gonna just go deliberately and go look for those types of people who are qualified. I think that's what DEI is, but I think the application shouldn't be doing it at the expense of a white person. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I had a thought come to mind.
Wait, Andrew, I think you lost your helpful mode. Now it's just a good cop left. So that's going to be a problem, Andrew.
Have you ever met Noel?
Andrew, fuck you.
Do you know who Uncle Steve is?
I'm very fair, Andrew. If you need me,
it's actually a fair point, Sasha.
She's
a fair point.
She's actually retarded, Andrew. Don't know that.
As much as I am retarded, I still wouldn't push you down because I don't really care about your opinion.
I mean, you definitely would just. Just wait, Chris. Just settle down. Maybe Hua would be a good candidate.
That's fine. Noel, I got you too, though. Don't worry, because I ain't against you. I just, I'm hoping we can have a decent conversation here.
He keeps avoiding me, but it's understandable.
You can see an observation tonight just how dangerous it is when someone forces you to conform to their worldview, but doesn't hold that standard for other people. Right, and how much that breeds animosity, resentment, how diminishing and demoralizing that can be, but yet those same people will make an argument that you should make space for them, while requiring of others what they don't expect of themselves. How much of a breakdown to society would that type of thinking be? I can only imagine.
What the fuck are you
talking about? The point. I wasn't talking about you. So the point is.
I'm not saying you are. I'm genuinely wondering what the fuck are you talking about?
So I don't want to lose my train of thought. I had a question. I kind of want to do a little thought experiment. Is anybody in the room bilingual?
Thanks. I think it did.
That's cute.
I think it can only help.
When you're bilingual, right? You speak different languages. Would you say that between both
I think it can only help.
That you have more autonomy to say different things, tonally, and maybe even in translation, that there are certain things that can be said in one language that you can't say in another language, and that, between both of them, you may even have a more intimate understanding of life itself.
I don't think it's that deep now. like certain things that I find easier to say in one language than another, like certain advantages, but it's like it's not really that deep. Like I don't know, I find like casting in Polish is a lot more expressive. There's like a lot more cuss words, and I think like English is just kind of cleaner. That's like
So in religion, all religious exercises, whether they are meditative or whether they are ritual
grammar is a lot simpler.
exercises,
It's like kind of neat. But it's like it's nothing like just oh my.
Saying like it did anything. I mean, in fact, probably some people.
Yeah, your thinking is different. Like certain languages have more words for, like rain, for instance. That there's more nuance and complexity to life than one may be able to appreciate with one language. Now, if we make language analogous to a particular experience or worldview, that through that worldview, people have access to certain things, they contend with certain experiences, and certain things they are able to see or recognize as relevant. But that's not a full picture of the totality of our world, our society. There's more complexity and nuance to it. So now when you have different groups of people of different races who speak differently, who appreciate things differently, they may recognize different different nuance and complexity that's there. So if we're, for instance, in war, going to go to another country and we need people who can speak different languages, beneath the veil of that, we need people who can appreciate different aspects of or be able to connect in different ways or connect different dots that we don't see are there. And so
Thanks, I think it can only help.
so all of that in a very subtle way adds to a efficient or healthy, work environment where everybody can do what they need to do. And so, if we're going to be a society where through vote we raise voices, then we should be open to listening to what other people have to say and not throwing it away as being inadequate. Because at the end of the day, that's what your critical thinking is for. You're able to take and synthesize from different points of view, different perspectives, what is most relevant at that particular point in time. But when you already lead with assumption, then your biases are automatically going to dismiss something that could potentially.
Society politics is slowly.
It's like you take account of I don't know, MAGA people saying, MAGA white Christians saying, all Christians are being oppressed. You take that experience on board and not dismiss it out of that.
Well, I think that they're being challenged, and
you're incapable of answering questions.
No, I think I am answering your question.
Well, it was like a yes or no, so do you mind starting with a yes or no, or I don't know, or
No, I don't think that they're being oppressed, no. I thought we went through this yesterday. Were you in the room?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Andrew even conceded it was kind of a weak argument.
No, I mean, I talked to Andrew about it, and I told him, like, his, like, the studies he was bringing up for it were, like, weak sauce. But, I'm asking you, is, like, how far does this perspective taking extend? It's, like, just, like, I'm not particularly interested in, like, I don't know, figuring out how racist America is by asking a bunch of racial minorities. I think that's, like, a stupid project. You're saying that's, like, a really good way to figure out the issue. It's like, okay, does that extend to, like, hillbillies saying they feel oppressed? Does it extend to MAGA Christians saying that they feel like their values are attacked? And if not, why not? And so we already, you already said it doesn't, so, like, why doesn't it?
I think if people are frustrated that there is something that's there. And then to your point, right? Imagine if everyone thought the way that you did, nobody would ever get a chance to speak, because it all boils down to what interests you, and what you're interested in. So we don't need people who just, only speak and don't actually take an investigative approach to life. So,
trust me, I'm way more investigative than you, but you're not answering my question. Let's try to investigate the issue of you trying to answer the question.
Well, you told me that you were not interested in a topic that is essentially, in America, when it comes to race and the Black experience, one of the most, if not the most, nuanced and complex social dilemmas of the last several hundred years. And you're telling me you're not interested in that. So
no, I am interested. I'm just not interested in figuring it out by, like, asking a bunch of Black people what they think about it and how they experience the world. I think that's, like, has next to no value for me figuring it out.
And what's wild about that is that you're saying if white Christians are saying that they're oppressed, that other people should hold space for their grievances. That's so.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm really not saying that. I'm asking you if you take their grievances on board like you do the grievances of other groups. I don't take the grievances of MAGA people seriously.
Oh yeah, no, I do. I think that
Like, seriously, in the sense that we discussed, like, I don't think that, like, white Christians in America are being oppressed.
No,
right?
when you talked about MAGA people, right? So that's a broader. I take that to be a broader group of people. I think that they're upset. I think they're frustrated. I feel like they feel looked over. They feel forgotten. But I think that their anger is misplaced. So I think that they're focusing on minorities and immigrants when learning about how many jobs were offshore to other countries. That would help him to be able to hone that frustration.
During a falling out with his liberal father,
Maybe the white Christian maggots feel like they are forgotten because they've already gotten exactly what they wanted. That was their hero. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. Let's talk about the Jews. 6 o'clock Jews. 7 o'clock Jews. All on Creative Jew News Network. That's what I'm doing. I forgot. I'm not worried. Jew News Network. Jew News. Once again, reason why maggots have forgotten. Excuse me?
Please.
I can't understand what you're saying.
Hey man, can we just let them have the conversations?
Yeah, seriously.
I don't even want to talk to Chris about it. It's just like, this guy's just gonna come in, center himself, not engage with us.
Well, if you're talking about me, and I don't know if you are, I'd be happy to engage with you right now.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
All right, I'd love to. Go ahead.
I don't want to talk to you.
Okay, well then I'll talk to someone else.
And don't talk to him. Yeah, mute and let somebody else talk.
Exactly, right. I'll talk to somebody else.
Let's talk, Steve.
Let's talk.
Are you saying that people
people who are MAGA, they feel like they're being forgotten?
No, someone else said that, and I responded by saying maybe the